and maybe some of you have heard this. It's kind of like Pictionary, okay? You ever heard this before? Yes or no? Yes. Beautiful, few people. Maybe some of you can't see it past my fat head. That's probably the case too. Our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our character becomes our destiny. Let me see again how many of you have heard this. So, I can't take credit for this portion because Zach labeled it, but we call it the touchdown approach, okay? Because your thoughts lead to your destiny. Get it? TD, touchdown? Yeah. Your thoughts lead to your destiny, isn't it true? So what if we were more intentional with our thoughts on a regular basis? Now, I'm not here to say you can stop all thoughts, because doesn't it happen sometimes that we're like, what the heck are you thinking that for? Why did that just go through my brain? Right? Happens to all of us. Maybe not Jeff. But what if we started to focus intentionally on how we shape our thoughts, on which thoughts we focus on, which ones we allow to stay inside of us and act on? Thoughts become words, actions, habit, character, ultimately our destiny. Let me tell you a quick little story about an individual named Roger Bannister. How many of you heard the name Roger Bannister before? Say aye. Aye. You have? A couple times maybe. So to tell you Roger Bannister's story, we got to go all the way back to the year 1593 over in England. Because in 1593 in England, what were they doing? They were creating legislature for what we now know today as the 1 mile race. The distance for the 1 mile race. Now, your next question, of course, is why do you have to have legislature for the 1 mile race? Because they were betting on races. Anytime you have something you're betting on, you've got to have legislature in place to make sure everyone's betting correctly. So 1593, they create the 1 mile race, and that's how we know it today. Fast forward 352 years, the year 1945. Now think about it. If you're betting on races, that's competitive, right? It doesn't like people are out there like, yeah, we love the 1 mile race, cool. Like, no, they're getting after it. They're going as hard as they can because they want to be the best. They want to win money. They want their teams to win money. So for 352 years, they're going as hard as they can, competitively trying to improve. 1945. Finally, we have one person hit 4 minutes in the 1 mile race. One person hits 4 minutes in the 1 mile race. Awesome. What do you do after you hit 4 minutes if you're a competitive runner? What do you want to do? Break that. Now your goal becomes, let's break 4 minutes. Now I'm going to be the first one to do it. Every single competitive runner out there who was close to that wanted to be that first person to break the 4 minute mile. But here's what we find. For the next 9 years, what do people do? Hit 4 minutes. Hit 4 minutes. Hit 4 minutes. Nobody's breaking the 4 minute mile. Until our hero of the story, Roger Bannister. May 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister steps up on the track in front of 3,000 people, and for the first time in recorded history, breaks the 4 minute mile. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. First person, 361 years of running this race, he's the first person to break it. Now, what's really cool about this story is, how did he do it? Because certainly he was a competitor, he was running hard, he was getting after it, right? Physically, he was practicing his running form and technique, etc. But what you've got to know about Roger's story is that he was not just a professional runner, he was actually also training as a junior doctor. He would go on to become one of the best-known neurologists in England. So what does that tell you about what he knew about the human body and the human mind? What was he doing differently than everyone else out there? Yes, he was training physically. He was running back and forth, maybe back and forth. I don't know. That's what I do, just as far as I go, man. But he was training his mind more effectively than anyone else. He understood that if he visualized himself breaking 4 minutes over and over and over again, that it was going to happen. So because he trained himself that way, when he showed up May 6, 1954, and he stepped on that track, game over. He knew it was happening, period, because he had seen it before over and over and over, and it was going to happen. And what did he do? He broke the 4 minute mile. First person, 361 years. How cool is that? It's pretty cool, isn't it? What's even cooler about this story is what happens after. Less than 7 weeks later, 6.5 weeks later, a guy named John Landry breaks Bannister's 4-minute mile record. He breaks 3:59.4. Like, dude, could you not have given me more time to enjoy this thing that I broke after 361 years of having the record? Come on, man. Bless you. 6.5 weeks later, it's broken again. Less than 2 months later, both John Landry and Roger Bannister ran in the same race and both again broke 4 minutes. So what happens the next year? 5 more people break the 4-minute mile. The year after that, 6 more people break the 4-minute mile. That's the even cooler part of the story, isn't it? So here's what happened. What did Roger Bannister do for himself? He absolutely shattered the mental barrier. He broke it. That's how he was able to break the 4-minute mile, because he broke his own mental barrier. What else did he do for the dozens and dozens of people that came after him? He shattered their mental barrier. Where do we get most of our beliefs from? Tell me. Do we get them from our families growing up? From our parents? From our friends? From the people that we experience time with and spend time with? Especially as we grow up, do people tell us what we can and cannot do? Even if they don't intentionally say you can or can't do this, do they tell you by their tone of voice or by the way they respond to your goals and your dreams and the things you want to accomplish? So maybe what we need to do is break that mental barrier for ourselves and whatever it is you want to go after. By the way, what's your 4-minute mile? What's that thing you want to have, do, achieve, experience, create, give, contribute? What's your 4-minute mile? Go ahead, write it down. Take a moment.